So, when Joseph Smith was murdered, there was lots of drama that ensued after that, which is a massive understatement. Brigham Young gets here, he says this is the place, blah, 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 you know, fast forward a lot. They don't like that, so the president sends troops out here, but doesn't really tell Brigham Young what the troops are for. He just kind of sends troops out here and appoints someone else to be in charge of Utah. So blaming the Native Americans for attacks that he's orchestrating, and this is what ends up escalating. I don't remember where I was in the story. 3 of his adult children with him, his wife Mary, and the other children remained in Arkansas. Are you f***ing kidding me? This is the meadow that they camped in. And so these 2 Mormon militiamen make the executive decision to murder these 2 men to, you know, keep them quiet and not cause problems, right? Turns out that causes a massive problem because one of them gets away. So now there's witnesses who know that the Mormon militiamen are involved in this. And you know what happens to witnesses. They think they're going to save the pioneers, not murder them. In about an hour, a wagon drove up to our house containing 17 children in it, the most of them crying. Their clothes were bloody. I've seen much of my life since that day. I have seen war along the lines of the border of states and all its horrors, but no scene in my life has ever so impressed upon my mind as that which I saw there that day presented by those little children. Their fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters dead on the far-off plains of Utah, and they absolutely without means. You need to pay.
I heard crying.
Great. Young declares martial law in Utah. Brigham Young basically is like, prepare for war. Gather your stuff, and if they come here, kill them. The fact that we get like a nice covered air-conditioned travel, they have to go in wagons and die.
I know, literally. This is Allie and Gus, and I'm Allie.
I'm Gus, and this is the Informal Paranormal. We just went to Mountain Meadows, where the unfortunately infamous massacre happened. And so did you know about the Mountain Meadows growing up?
I had heard the name, but like never like in-depth details of what happened. I just knew that something horrible happened, and
yeah, same here. All I ever heard was that something terrible happened, and I never heard any details. It was all like a mystery. No one really wanted to ever talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're covering it today. We're gonna go all into the details, into the history. We forgot to do an intro outro, so we're here at our little lodge that we're staying at. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. You might not, it's kind of sad, but
it's good to be informed.
Yeah,
on
it's
history.
good. It's good to know what's going on. Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Okay, I want you to take a wild guess, just a wild guess on what year slavery was outlawed in Utah. Like fully, like as a punishment, like fully just completely outlawed in Utah. What year? Just take a guess, a wild guess.
1980.
2020.
What?
You could literally still be enslaved as a punishment up to 2020. In indentured servitude, at least. I don't know if that's the exact phrasing, but
Why did I not know about
up until 2020 in Utah, it was still legal to have slavery as a punishment for a crime. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, now we're at the Overlook Memorial, so we stopped. We've been here, we've been there, and now we are here, and then we'll end there. So we should just, how do we even start this story? I have it all written down. So like, the only way to really start this story is by talking about like, so Mormons left, Illinois and Ohio, and came over here, 1840, 50 something? I don't remember the exact year. So when Joseph Smith was murdered, there was lots of drama that ensued after that, which is a massive understatement. Oh, it's mirrored, so I think this is good, right? Okay, so like, how do we even start this? So Joseph Smith is murdered. Brigham Young takes some followers out here, and then Joseph Smith's son takes a few other followers, and they like split off into different sections of the church.
Yeah, what? So Joseph Smith's people are in Missouri, right?
Yeah, Missouri.
And then Brigham Young brings everyone else to Utah.
Yeah, so they all come out here. They're traveling out here. Brigham Young gets here. He says, this is the place, blah, blah, blah. You know, fast forward a lot. And they're establishing, like, cities here and stuff. But tensions are rising. So Joseph Smith, like I said, was murdered. We're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, okay? I don't really want to get into it. The Mormons were being relentlessly persecuted, okay? That's something that is, like, fact. That's actual fact.
Which was really messed up, I will say. Like, I don't think people should be killed based
Nobody should be killed based on their beliefs, exactly. It's just, so the Mormons, they come out here to Utah, trying to get out of the United States, and then the United States gets Mexico and buys, like, lots of war. There's lots of stuff that happens for the United States to acquire sections of Mexico in order to get from sea to shining sea. That's, like, the whole thing. So, the Mormons are out here. They're back in the United States now because they're back in United States territory, and they're pissed about it, and there's, like, lots of tension rising, and Brigham Young has, like, a bunch of violent rhetoric he's spreading, and it's all leading up to this massacre that happens, because basically what ends up happening, there's not even a way to basically this. There's, like, it's so convoluted and complicated. So Brigham Young has his hold on Utah and wants to keep his hold on Utah. And this scares the president of the United States and is like, hey, they don't like the fact that Mormons are kind of taking over in that area. They don't like that. So the president sends troops out here, but doesn't really tell Brigham Young what the troops are for. He just kind of sends troops out here and appoints someone else to be in charge of Utah. That's not Brigham Young. And so that kind of freaks out the Mormons. Brigham Young basically is like, prepare for war. He essentially is like, prepare for war, gather your stuff, and if they come here, kill them. And he even says, like, I didn't mean that, but, like, you're still telling people to do it, so it doesn't matter if you mean it or not. You're telling people to lay up their sword when they come. So, yeah, Young declares martial law in Utah. That's, like, the only way to put it. He declares martial law. Anyone coming through Utah gets the cold shoulder, essentially. You're not allowed to travel through Utah, and if you are, you're not allowed any sort of replenishment for your supplies as you're traveling through here, which in the pioneer days, back in 1850s, you know, that's a big deal. That's
they
a
had
massive
trading
deal.
Posts and a bunch of things so people could, you know, travel and survive.
Safely travel through the United States. And they were also protecting the trails from the quote-unquote savage Native Americans, you know, who I don't know the details of how much they were actually attacking the pioneers, and if they were, it was well-deserved. Let's be real here. So, yeah, the Mormons were protecting, quote-unquote, the trails, and it all comes to a head when Brigham Young... Oh, there's people coming. So they called them the Baker-Fancher Party for a long time, but it was more than just the Bakers and the Fanchers. It ended up being like a bunch of different families within the party, within the company. So it's actually not called just the Baker-Fancher Party. It's like a big group, big company of people. 100 and something people. Brigham Young starts encouraging this wartime strategy of raiding cattle. He tells his Indian missionaries, they call them Indian missionaries. They were the missionaries that were helping the Native Americans convert to Mormonism and to the Mormon faith. And he tells them the interpreters and the missionaries, he tells them to convince these tribes to help them out in this war. And he successfully...
This war that didn't exist, by the way.
That doesn't exist. And he tells them... We should start walking up now. So he convinces the Native Americans, or the interpreters do at least, to help them raid the cattle of the pioneers coming through the area. And all of this, I guess I should tell it differently, it doesn't matter though, but all of this while publicly saying the Native Americans are attacking the pioneers, and we are the ones keeping it safe. While meanwhile, he's the one orchestrating the attacks on the pioneers. Make it make sense. 2 + 2 = 6?
It makes no sense.
Like, what? Like, it's so frustrating. Yeah, so blaming the Native Americans for attacks that he's orchestrating. And this is what ends up escalating. I don't remember where I was in the story. The cattle were being raided all the time by the Native Americans, being led by white men, orchestrated by white men, white Mormon men, and it's so fucked. So, on the night of September 7th of 1857, one of these cattle raids turns bad, and Basically, I keep saying basically, there's no way to basically this. Some of the immigrant men get woken up from this raid and defend their cattle. It just escalates from there, and 7 to 10, I think around 7 to 10 of 10 total were killed in that skirmish on September 7th. And that was a few days, that was 4 days before the massacre. John T. Baker and Alexander Fancher. "138 head of fine stock cattle, 9 yoke of oxen, 2 mules, 1 mare, 1 large ox wagon, guns, saddles, bridles, camp equipment, provisions for himself, and 5 work hands. 3 of his adult children with him, his wife Mary, and the other children remained in Arkansas. Are you fucking kidding me?" Before Baker left Arkansas, he wrote in his will, he acknowledged that he knew the uncertainty of life and certainty of death, but not the time of his dissolution. "First, I will at my death my body a decent burial in the bosom of its mother earth, and my spirit to the God who gave it." Alexander Fancher was a farmer and cattleman and a veteran of the Black Hawk War in Illinois. In the 1840s, he and his wife Eliza moved with their children to Carroll County, Arkansas, and so did his brother John and his family. In 1850, the 2 brothers and their family moved to Southern California. Massacre at Meadows cut their journey short and denied John Baker's request for a decent burial. Baker was brutally murdered along with his 3 children who were with him. 1 grandchild, a son-in-law, and daughter-in-law. Alexander and Eliza Fancher were also murdered, as were 7 of their children. 3 Baker grandchildren, 2 Fancher children survived. 2 years later, they and 12 other surviving children were returned to the care of relatives in Arkansas. And then their city was burned down in the Civil War. So, yay. Wish they would have been able to make it to California with their families. That would have been nice. Look at this. This is the meadow that they camped in. This is where the original 7 men died, or 10 men.
The burial site's over there.
Yeah, you can see it from here. It's right there. Probably can't see it on camera, but... You good?
Yeah. What is this?
So this points to the emigration campsite. Yeah, so you look through there, you can see where they were camping. I think that's where the gravesite is. That's where the campsite was.
So they got buried where their campsite was?
Yeah.
That is absurd.
But I think they were buried by the men that killed them. I actually don't know how their bodies ended up there.
Oh, wow. All the names?
Yeah, here's all the names. So yeah, it says the following. Oh, right here. So those believed to have been killed at or near the Mountain Meadows are these people. And then the following children survived and were returned to their families. Other names associated. So this memorial was erected September of 1990 by the state of Utah and the families and friends of those involved and those who died. Yeah, so this was their trail that they took. We have the Women and Children Memorial and the Men's Boys Memorial. Oop. Oop. So during this attack, this cattle raid that ended with 10 people dying, so 2 Mormon militiamen witnessed this happen and knew the truth about what happened. And so they were like, we're gonna go talk to Isaac Haight up in Cedar City. Isaac Haight was stake president. He was some big name in Cedar City, like the big name in Cedar City. But as they're going there, they come across 2 more of the Arkansas immigrants that are kind of traveling behind to like herd the cattle, and they're like helping out with the cattle behind. So they're not really with the group and they don't really know what's going on yet. And so these 2 Mormon militiamen make the executive decision to murder these 2 men to, keep them quiet and not cause problems, right? Turns out that causes a massive problem because one of them gets away and gets back to camp where he tells everyone else what happens, and now there's witnesses. So now there's witnesses who know that Mormons, the Mormon militiamen, are involved in this. And you know what happens to witnesses, right?
Yeah.
So beyond fuck. So they eventually get back to Isaac Haight and they tell him what happened. And Isaac Haight writes to Brigham Young and is like, what do we do? And sends the message off to Brigham Young. Before he gets a message back from Brigham Young, he makes a decision to murder everyone. Kind of. That's like very, very, very long story short. But him and a bunch of other men decide that it's either, like, that if people find out about this, that it's going to cause a lot of problems from the west side, from California.
Mm-hmm.
And so he makes that decision.
Yeah, so basically they said these people from Arkansas are going to go to California and snitch on us to everyone, and then everyone's going to hate us, and they were scared, and they were like, they're going to kill either our women and children, or we have to kill their women and children.
It was very, like, us or them mentality, and also didn't help that, like, Brigham Young had already had this, like, war rhetoric going on that, like, they're coming for our women and children anyway. Like, it didn't help that that was happening at the same time. So... oh no, baby. And so they make the executive decision to carry this out. So Isaac Haight, he goes up and gets permission from the militiaman, the guy in charge of the militia, and they go. It's so
messed up.
Beyond. They originally lied to the militiamen. Oh, did I not? They lied to the militiamen. They didn't tell them what they were originally doing. So, yes, the militiamen are, lied to. They are straight up lied to and not told what's happening and what they're doing. They think they're going to save the pioneers, not murder them.
Yeah.
So, that's just so I cannot get over how messed up this is.
It's so sad.
I got a lot of messages from work, but I just don't care. So yeah, the main people responsible were John Higbee, John D. Lee, Philip Klingensmith, and Isaac Haight. They decided to wipe out the entire party except for the children who were under 7, although there are some children under 6 that got killed. So eventually they get the Mormon militia permission, they go out and they basically, under the truce of a white flag, they gain their trust, and then, like, I don't even, like, want to get into the details, but I feel like it deserves to be said. So, basically, they let John D. Lee inside, and they claimed that the natives were only mad at the men, so they're like, give us your weapons, and we'll escort the men out of here, and everyone will be safe, and we'll escort the women and children and the men, and everyone will be safe. So they're escorting these men, one-to-one, like one militiaman to one emigrant man, and all these emigrant men are not armed. And they get to the point of where it's supposed to happen, and they have a bunch of people hiding in the bushes, and they turn and yell the halt. They say halt, which is the code word for start, and all the men turn and shoot. And they kill all the emigrant men immediately. They're gone. And then the chaos erupts.
Yeah. Sorry. It's so up. Like, you know what these people went through? It's so unfair. Like, literally, none of this should have ever happened.
So there are witnesses to this that, like, actually see it happen. So that's how we know that this stuff happened. Go, wait till we're done filming.
I'm not eating it right now.
Okay, I'm like, just wait, we're almost done. So yeah, so they start here at Mountain Meadows and they march for about a mile, and then they yell halt. They turn, they kill the men, and then the women are killed, and then they round up the children and they decide which children to kill. Yep. And then after they do that, they take the remaining surviving children. Most of them are under 2. There's a few that are over 2, but none are over 6. And they take them up north to a farm where a girl named Rebecca, I think, or Rachel or something. What was her name? Do you remember?
I thought it was Rebecca.
Rebecca. I think it's Rebecca. So Rebecca, she takes care of these kids for the night, and eventually takes 3 of them in as her temporary children until they're returned to their families in Arkansas. Rachel Hamblin, who lived a few miles north of the massacre field, so she lived north of here. I think that's north. I heard a firing greater than before and more distinct. This is the time when the last of them were killed. In about an hour, a wagon drove up to our house containing 17 children in it, the most of them crying. One, a girl about a year old, Sarah Dunlap, had been shot through the arm, and another girl about 4 years old had been wounded in the air. Their clothes were bloody. The little girl who was shot through the arm could not well be moved. She had 2 sisters, Rebecca and Louisa, one 7, the other 5, who seemed to be greatly attached to her. I persuaded John D. Lee not to separate them, but to let me have all 3 of them. This he finally agreed to, and the children stayed with me, and I nursed the wounded child, though she had lost forever the use of her arm. The next day, Lee and the rest started up the road with the rest of the children in the wagon, and the natives scattered off.
He was 17.
James Barry witnessed an event he would never forget. He saw 15 children return to relatives and friends of... Why only 15? I thought 17 survived. On February 11th, James Barry stood before the United States. He was a senator, he was a veteran.
Oh, look, 2 other children have returned.
Oh, if I just kept reading. Had an arm broken by a gunshot wound, it had not united, and the arm hung dangling by her side. I have seen much of my life since that day. I have seen war along the lines of the border of states and all its horrors, but no scene in my life has ever so impressed upon my mind as that which I saw there that day presented by those little children. Their fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters dead on the far-off plains of Utah, and they absolutely without means.
They had 600 cattle.
Yep. Which actually was a lot for the time.
Oh, yeah.
That was massive. They were very rich, very wealthy. Where was I in the story? Yeah, so that's kind of the story of what happened here at Mountain Meadows. It's messed up. It's so messed up. I don't even have the words for it. I'm going to link in the description a very thorough podcast for you guys to listen to that has a lot more information than what we're able to give. But we just wanted to visit the site and maybe connect with any spirits that want to. And in the most respectful way. We don't mean any disrespect while doing this. So... So, this is Cedar City. I don't know at what point you guys are going to learn the history. Oh, I gotta get off here. Yeah, this is Cedar City, and this is a major player in the history of the Mountain Meadows Massacre. So all of this area right here is Cedar City, and this is where the people lived who committed the crime. Well, some of the people that committed the crime lived here. And afterwards, the children were brought back here. I mean, not here specifically, they were brought somewhere else first, and then distributed to Mormon families of the perpetrators of this throughout Cedar City and other places too, but mostly Cedar City. The bishop, Cedar City bishop and stake president and the governor, all of them were all complicit in this, all of them. So Cedar City plays like a major role in this entire story. So while we're here in Cedar City, I thought I'd, pull out the camera and be like, this is Cedar City. I've lived, how long is this? A few hours away from where we live? Mm-hmm.
It's 3 hours? 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours from where we live, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like we've lived so close to this place for so long.
Yeah.
And that's by car. It's also crazy. This entire time we've been driving, I'm like, we have air conditioning, we have a roof over our heads. They did not have that when they were traveling the same place. Like, we were traveling the same direction, the same place. It's so wild to think about that.
Yeah, it is. I've been quiet this whole time because I'm eating taco.
Oh my gosh, okay. So this is what I wanted to know. So we are here. Trail to Monument. Memorial to the men and older boys, right here.
Memorial, Overlook.
And then the gravesite. This is where I thought it happened, but I think it happened here. Why would it be here if it didn't happen here? I'm confused. Hold on, let's read. Oh, so the gravesite memorial is the resting place. This is where their bodies are currently, their current bodies. So yeah, this kind of shows you the distance. So this is where the women were murdered, right here, and this is where the men were murdered. So they were separate. They were separated from each other by quite a bit, and then they killed the men first, and then they were waiting in ambush in these bushes right here. Yeah, they were waiting in the bushes
So they killed at least 10
Yeah.
on the 7th. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first,
The first part of it.
yeah. Because it started out as a siege on they were trying to get the cattle.
Yeah.
And then it escalated from the cattle, and it killed like 7 people, or 10 people, it says.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
On the 7th.
Because they were defending their cattle, and then it killed 10 men.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, it escalated even more. The victims' voices fell silent except for the sobbing of 17 small surviving children. The dead were stripped of their clothing and left without a decent burial. 17 years after the massacre, a federal grand jury indicted 9 Mormon militiamen for the crimes related to the siege of the massacre.
Only 9?
Do you know what's crazy, though? Is only 1 was brought to trial. So John D. Lee was brought to trial and was executed for the crime. He was executed for it.
At least, I'm glad he was executed. Actually, you know what? No, he should live with what he did.
And do you know what makes me more upset that they executed him? Is that he used the whole blood atonement thing. So he was like, oh, I'm atoning for my sins by dying for this. I guess he'll find out when he meets Jesus. I want to talk to the spirits, but I don't want to be disrespectful in the way we do it.
I don't want to be disrespectful either. The only thing that I'm glad about is just the fact that they have a memorial, at least.
Yep.
And, like, it got recognized way too late, but, like, at least...
Oh, I'm gonna start crying. May we forever remember the women, children, and wounded who died near here on September 11th, 1857, as part of the Mountain Meadows Massacre. They were killed without just cause. Most lie in unmarked graves somewhere in this valley. Only 17 small children survived. They were later reunited with their extended families in Arkansas. But it fails to mention that literally right after they brought them back to their families in Arkansas, the Civil War broke out and their towns were burned to the ground. So they didn't get better. They should have been living in California with their families. And instead, they were brought back to Arkansas, where they were trying to escape. It's so gut-wrenching.
No, it's horrible. And the fact that there's a lot that lie in unmarked graves somewhere in the valley.
All over the valley.
Like, we could be sitting on one right now.
Literally. This is where it happened. I can feel the energy here.
No, me too.
I feel it deeply. I feel sad. Like this should not have happened.
Can you imagine if they would have waited to see what Brigham Young said before they did it?
Right? Did you hear that footstep? It literally sounded like someone was walking in the bushes over there. So... I can't even imagine. Sun feels good. Yeah, it doesn't feel very appropriate to do any investigating here, but I do want to reach out to any spirits that are possibly in the area. That if you do want to speak with us, we have some equipment that we want to use. So you're more than welcome to follow us to our next location and come and talk with us. Come and have a conversation with us. We don't feel like it's appropriate to do it here. But if you do want to be heard or you want your story to be told, come follow us.
My whole body got tingling.
Really? I don't like giving things permission to attach to me because I don't like my energy being taken, but I do want to say if there is someone here, you have permission to attach yourself to me temporarily. And you can come with me. Ooh, I felt weird. We just want to know your story. We want to remember you correctly. We know that you guys were unjustly murdered. That's not fair. It's not fair. And I genuinely don't know if our ancestors are related. But over 1 million people alive today have ancestors that could have been part of this. So I don't know. I have no idea if we're related to anyone. I couldn't find anything in our genealogy. I don't know much about our genealogy, but we're so sorry for what happened to you. And we're gonna go visit the boys' memorial, and then the big memorial, and probably the gravesite too. We mean all the most utmost respect. We're not doing this in any sort of exploitative way. We just want to, do this in a way that is respectful. So yeah, this is where the men were murdered. Oh. Hi.
This is such a beautiful area for
Right.
mountains and stuff.
What's crazy to me is that they were completely unarmed.
I know.
And there was basically it was 1-to-1. Is this the same description as the one over there? Yeah, it looks like the same one.
Yeah.
In memory of the immigrant men and boys from Arkansas massacred here in Mountain Meadows on September 11th, 1857. Their lives were taken prematurely and wrongly by Mormon militiamen in one of the most tragic episodes in Western American history. May we forever remember and honor those buried in this valley. May we never forget this tragedy but learn from the past. Sorry for that engine sound. There's motorcycles here. This is wild.
Have you guys been to the one down this way?
We came from this way, so we're heading down there next.
Okay, so I don't.
Yeah.
I've never stopped off. It seems like that one's bigger, or.
Yes, so basically here they're all right here.
Uh-huh.
So the men were killed right here. The men were killed here where we are, and the women and children were killed over here. And then their bodies are buried right here. So they have a gravesite dedicated to them. Yeah. And then this just kind of overlooks all of it. Yeah. So but this is where they actually were killed. Unfortunately. Yeah, I know a little bit too much about this. So, yeah.
I
saw the new Netflix show on
Oh,
this.
is it good? I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, you think they did a good job?
The show was
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
It was.
yeah.
Yeah,
Could have been a
it's-
lot more brutal.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, hearing what actually happened here, it's messed up.
What's your takeaway from these militiamen? Knowing that they were unarmed.
So the militiamen were not unarmed. The men they killed were unarmed.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, so they took all their weapons and they put them in a wagon at the front, and then they were 1-to-1. All the militiamen were lined up with each of the immigrant men, and then the guy at the front turned around and said, "Okay, halt," and that was their sign, and so they all turned and shot the person they were next to, and so all of them dropped dead at once. It was like a one, and then right as that happened, everything broke out and just erupted into chaos. The people hiding in the bushes jumped out and just yeah.
Terrible.
So sad. I can't even imagine. And then, of course, the 17 children that survived. That they decided to spare. They were taken up to a farm and were cared for overnight for one night. And then after that, they were taken and spread into the families of the people that did this. Mm-hmm. And then after that, federal agents came and took them and returned them back to Arkansas, which sucks.
Much longer was that? Do you know?
It
was a long time.
It was 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 years
I thought it
after
was even longer than
they were
that.
returned. And then what sucks though is that the Civil War broke out right when they got back to Arkansas, so all their villages were burned down right after they got home, and they had to flee again. So it was like a whole thing, and it just sucks. They should have been living in California with their family safe and sound, but instead they just got completely screwed over in every sense of the word. It's so sad.
So when they came through, when the immigrants came through,
Yeah.
I can't remember if they came through Salt Lake or further south.
I think they stopped in Salt Lake and refused any goods there because Brigham Young had
tried to get goods.
ordered no one give your goods away.
Yeah.
Or,
Supposedly they were pissed off and said
yeah.
on their way out,
Yeah.
and that didn't help things, but that was still no excuse.
Yeah. And I think there were rumors that like the party had the gun that killed Joseph Smith, but that's been proven not to be true.
I heard some of them just said some.
Yeah, people were
Just
saying
we're
things.
so
I would have been pissed too. But
Yeah.
What do you do?
That's crazy. Oh, I feel so awful. Just so bad. Yeah, we just stopped at this memorial, and now we're going to go stop at this one next, probably.
Got it.
I think I was just there. Oh, I didn't go. There's a trail to it.
Yeah, there's a little.
That's a teeny parking lot.
Yeah, and there's a teeny little trail. It looks like that.
It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
This
Little
one's
bit.
the big one, right?
Yeah, it's where the grave is, where all the bodies are buried, or just some of the bodies. I don't think they have all the bodies, but
Oh, I just realized how close we are to St. George.
yeah, 33 miles. And then this all I think is funded and built by the Mormon Church, by the LDS Church. So.
They didn't end up doing this till
Way later, right?
like in the last.
Yeah, like 2008.
15 years.
Something
or
like that. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
they
sure the church
finally-
didn't even admit to it until like 2008.
Well, I don't know what they knew and what they didn't know, and the head of it, he did get. I think
Oh, he got executed.
and
So-
executed,
Yeah.
There were 6 men that were, I think it said, what did it say? Right here.
Oh, it's in there, huh?
6 men. 9. So yeah, a federal grand jury indicted 9 Mormon militiamen for crimes related to the siege, but only one, John D. Lee, was brought to trial and convicted and then executed. The other men all ran off and were on the lam, and no one ever found them. No one ever cared to find them. There wasn't the funding to find them. It was back before telegraphs, back before the trains were a thing. They were a thing, but not like a thing.
On the run.
Yeah, so they were just on the run, on the lam. Yep, and nobody cared to go look for them. It was so frustrating.
Different time.
Yeah, definitely a different time. Yeah, we should go to the other one.
Looks like it's been 1 mile. Thank you guys.
Yeah, good talking with you. Have a good one. Safe drive. We're nice. I got all that on camera.
Real quick, I don't like other guys, but they could
get it.
they could both get it.
You're so funny. And you're also right. Okay, so we just drove 5 full minutes to get over here to the site of their camp. The way that they had to walk for how long before they had to murder these people, which means they had time to get to know them and time to cheers with them. That is crazy to me.
Yeah. I just they got to know these people, and they still.
So the Descendants, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're doing because I don't want to be disrespectful with what we're doing. So the Descendants themselves, so people have asked have the Descendants gotten any what's the word? Any money, any money for this or any sort of compensation for this? And the answer is no, because they have asked for it not. They asked for any money to be spent on buying the land to preserve the land, which is exactly what the Mormon Church has done. So I do respect that the Mormon Church has bought the land and preserved it and has done everything that the survivors has asked them to do. So I do appreciate that a lot.
Me too. Yeah, that's good on their part.
So yeah, let's check out this gravesite, maybe do some investigating and then head out. Okay. So the church did not publicly acknowledge that this even happened until when? This was 1999 by Gordon B. Hinckley. The gospel of Jesus Christ that we espouse abhors the cold-blooded killing of men, women, and children. Indeed, it advocates peace and forgiveness. What was done here long ago by members of our church represents a terrible and inexcusable departure from Christian teaching and conduct. We cannot change what happened, but we can remember and honor those who were killed here. That's Elder Henry B. Eyring in 2007. So yeah, there's a statement of dedication and a statement of regret. I think the full truth of what happened came out in 2007.
apologizing to the Paiute people.
A separate expression of regret is owed to the Paiute people, or the Paiute, I don't know how to say it, who have unjustly borne for too long the principal blame for what occurred during the massacre. Although the extent of their involvement is disputed, it is believed that they would not have participated without the direction and stimulus provided by local church leaders and members. Yep. So even if the native tribes were involved, it was through direction of the Mormons that were here.
Look how many people came.
Wow. So yeah, the survivors and the children have basically said all we want is the truth to be told and to be remembered. So this happened over 200 years ago, right? 1857. Hold on, I'm doing the exact math. So that was 168 years ago.
So yeah, almost 200.
Almost 200 years ago. So I think we're fine. We're not doing it to be disrespectful. We're not vandalizing anything. We're not
At
antagonizing
least we're not
anything.
leaving our cigarettes on the
We're
ground.
not leaving our cigarette butts on the ground. We're just here to be respectful and to learn a story. One of
so
the
the
tragic.
monument is like way out there and then there.
So yeah, this is such a big part of our state's history, where we grew up, and the religion we were both raised in, where I don't practice it anymore, but like,
Neither do I.
it was such a big part of our lives growing up. So it's so interesting to learn about the history and how much like Mormon history has an impact on this, and how Brigham Young had a direct impact on
There's
this.
a little creek.
There's a little creek. Okay, so I'm using my intent to bring down the veil. I would like the veil to lower or to thin itself, so to allow us to communicate with any spirits in the area that would like to communicate with us. All right, if there are any spirits in this area, we would like to have a conversation with you. So you'll hold that while I'm under. It does that automatically.
Oh,
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, it spikes right when you turn on. So I'm gonna put this down. Keep an eye out for cars too. Okay, I'm gonna put the blindfold on and put these headphones on, and then I'm gonna plug it into the spirit box.
Also,
What?
also the timer.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put it set just for 5 minutes. This is a spirit box, and basically the spirit's able to talk through this, and we can hear it. I'm gonna put the headphones on so I can hear it pretty well. It said something. Hey, we're gonna talk to you in a second, okay? You can also touch this, and this will light up, and that's how we'll know if you're trying to talk to us. This sweeps through radio frequencies. That's what this does, so if you want to know what that is. Okay, I'm going under. There are men.
Okay. In the most respectful way possible, you would like to speak to anyone that is here. We don't want to be disrespectful. So this is all
6:30.
in respect.
It said something I couldn't understand.
What is there anything you'd like to tell us? Anything you'd like to say to either one of us? We want to get your story out. We want more people to know. It's very unfortunate what happened. It's very
Control or controller?
we're very sorry.
Ranch. Something I couldn't understand.
I don't know what to ask. Shit. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like us to know? Specifically. Anything about what happened to you?
Something that sounded like kitchen. That's not it. It said that's not it very loudly.
Anything you'd like to tell us that happened to you specifically that nobody else knows about?
You need to pay.
We need to pay? Or they need to pay?
Local farms? Farm?
Are you talking about Rebecca's farm?
Return.
Okay. You want to read?
Breathless.
Breathless. That is horrible. Wow.
Innocent. Convenient.
Yes, you guys were very innocent people. You guys did not deserve what happened to you. We are very, very deeply sorry.
Hands from... I couldn't understand it.
Do you feel like the people that did this to you got what they deserved? By chance? Maybe?
Appreciate.
Do you appreciate us doing this for you?
Something body.
Yes, you were buried. If you would like us to stop at any point in time, feel free to let us know. It's okay. Do we want to get your story out there?
Baseline.
Baseline. Are you guys, is there a specific person we're talking to or multiple people?
Feelings.
I'm sure you guys feel lots of feelings. We feel lots of feelings as well. And we're very, very, very sorry once again.
Laughter. Face scar.
Is this what happened to you? You're laughing and
Been lost.
they've been lost. Is there anything we can do to help you? Or do you feel at peace?
They've been in places.
We have been in places. Literally all day today. Do you feel disrespected by us being here and doing this? If you do, it's 100% okay, then we would stop. You just need to let us know.
Damn. How did that go?
That was crazy.
Was any of it accurate?
Um,
Or like, did you have any conversation at all?
well, kind of. I just, this didn't really go off at all, but I just was asking, like, if they wanted to talk about what happened, and then about Rebecca's farm, and if there's anything we can do to help, and then I also said if they want us to stop, we'll stop, they just need to let us know, but they didn't say anything to that, and just some stuff like that, so.
Yeah. Was anything I saying like in response to what you were saying at all?
Kind of, because I was like,
Or does it feel more residual?
what I was saying to them, I was like asking if there was anything we could do to help, and then they said they've been places. Or
Okay.
been places.
Been places.
And I was like, okay,
Alright.
well, we've been places
Yeah,
today.
we've been places.
so-
Lots of places today.
Yeah.
I'm getting the feeling that it's not. It doesn't. It's either it doesn't want to talk to us, or it's not like an intelligent. Like it's just residual, just the energy that's here, that's been left here. That's all I feel. It's just like a residual kind of energy. Nothing that wants to speak or talk or communicate. It's just here. So that's what I'm feeling. Do you want to try? We'll try it and then we can get back in the car.
Waiting?
Yeah. It sounded like it said waiting.
Okay.
Okay. Ignore my Cheeto hands. Can you hear me when I'm talking? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. Set my timer for 5 minutes. Alright, is there anyone here with us? Make yourself known by either touching this box, using this little thing in my hand. It will go off if you touch it or use it. Or you
Louder?
Or you can talk into there. And you'll be able to speak to us if you speak into the spirit box right here. We call it a spirit box. My name is Gus. This is Allie. Is there anything you want to talk to us about? You want to tell your story, who you are? We're just here to chat. We just want to know more about you. Are there any spirits here that would like to talk? It's getting cold. Is there anyone that would like to have a conversation with us?
I keep hearing lots of music.
Lots of music, okay. Are you from around here?
Lamb, lamb, lamb. 200.
200.
Your decision.
Is there anything out here with us right now? Anything at all? Anyone? Is there anyone who would like to talk to us? Is there anyone who would like to step forward and have a conversation with us? My name is Gus. This is Allie. We're just here to have a conversation and just learn more about you. We're here to recognize your story, to apologize, and to say hi. Let you know you're not forgotten. You're still here. We're still here. And we're here remembering you.
Four and 9.
Okay. I wonder if what's here is just not...
Just more music.
It feels just very residual. I don't think there's anything here that wants to talk to us or communicate with us. Would you like us to leave? Do you want us to leave? We can leave. It's loud music, I could hear that. Alright, well, we're gonna leave soon. We're gonna move on. You're more than welcome to tag along with us to our next location.
Excuse me, sir.
Hi. My name is Gus. I hope that you're doing okay.
Rain.
Rain. Is it gonna rain? Or was it raining when you died? Sorry, when you were here.
Get me out of here.
I'm sorry. Is there any way I can help you? Can I help you escape? Can I help you leave?
.com.
Alright. I don't think there's anyone here that wants to talk. Alright, well, we're gonna leave in about a minute. So if you want to say something, now is the time to say something. Go ahead and make a noise.
Just more music.
Go ahead and make a noise to us. You can make this go off.
Cry. I hear crying.
Great. I don't think there's anything here. I genuinely don't think there's anything here. And if there is, it's just residual energy.
Something, Utah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. If there is, it's residual. We're not getting any sort of like intelligent responses, which is fine.
There's definitely lots of activity.
I think there's, yeah, but it feels very residual.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the... No? Maybe it's the batteries in this? I don't know. Something was making this go off just now. So graveyards have always been very peaceful because I feel like people don't hang out where their bodies are. Like, I don't think the victims of this massacre are stuck here, which thank God. Like, thank God they're not stuck here. Although one person did say, get me out of here. But that feels residual. It didn't feel like an intelligent response. It felt just like a residual. So I don't think there's anything intelligent stuck here, which I'm very happy and very grateful for. But yeah, I think that this place is a lot more peaceful now. And I think that the stuff that the church has done in order to make up for this, not a lot, but the stuff that they have done, I think has helped. Buying the land and securing the land around this area, I think helped a lot. I think the spirits here are at peace and can move on now, which I think is good. That's what I'm feeling. That's the vibe I'm getting from this place. That the spirits here are moving on and at peace and are not in anguish anymore, which makes me so happy to hear. Or I guess feel, because I'm not, you know. So we are closing down this veil. We are closing the veil. If there's anyone here that would like to follow us to our next location, you're more than welcome to. All right? So, we are closing the veil. Okay. Oh, yay, it's under 24-hour surveillance. That makes me happy, because I've heard that this is prone to vandalism. Which, of course, any memorial commemorating people who died is prone to vandalism. Welcome to today's society. "29 people's bones were found here. The bones are then re-entered into a crypt." Holy crap. Built and maintained by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints out of respect for those who died and were buried here and in the surrounding area following the massacre of 1857.
So, over 100 years later.
Yep. And they have the Arkansas flag flying for the Arkansas Emigrants. Oh, are these the names? Yeah, the names of each person who died. These stones honor the Mountain Meadows Massacre victims whose remains are buried in various places in this valley. The victims traveled in a wagon train as family, friends, and neighbors. Most of these stones are grouped according to family relationships. Siege and murder. Hope you guys can read that. You can pause to read it.
Killing 1 and wounding 2. 3 or more other immigrants died here during the 5-day siege that followed.
Yeah. Only 7 were killed here during the first attack. The immigrants repulsed the attackers, killing 1 and wounding 2. 3 or more other immigrants died here during the first 5-day siege that followed. Yeah.
It says that one of the girls grabbed a gun that belonged to one of the fallen men and was fighting too.
Good for her. It's got me all kinds of f***ed up. 9 years old, 12 years old, 8 years old, 11 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old, 18 years old.
This little creek is where they were getting their water supply.
12, 14, 16, 18. Look how many children died. But yes, you're probably right. But they were also barred from the creek. Like they weren't able to get to it during the siege.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
They were like hiding up there and then they'd have to like run.
18, 16, 14, 12. Wow, devastating. I'm surprised of how many people are here. I'm actually happy. That makes me happy. That means people are like knowing about this place and are remembering it. This stone honors the many unidentified victims of the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Their names are known only to God. I'm gonna start crying.
I know. I'm just being quiet because I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah. So the siege memorial is probably where the camp was. And they had to come out here to the creek to get water.
Is that the memorial over there?
Up there, yeah. It's out there. So we can walk to it if you want.
We can.
You don't have to. You're at 15%. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, I feel like civilization has gone backwards, like, in sense of not being lazy.
Yeah. I agree.
If my parents were to come tell me that we were moving to Arkansas and I had to walk there, I would say you are crazy.
You're no.
And I'm not leaving.
Right.
But back then, that was normal.
Back then, they didn't really have a choice.
Like, you live in the dead center of the United States, you want to live by a beach? Oh, you better start walking.
Not quite why they were moving. Yeah, in order to have a better life, they had to leave. That was their only option. This is literally where they walked, where they were. This is not going to be fun to edit. I'd have to go through all of this again. In honor of those who rest in this field, they were innocent and died in unjust attacks that began on September 7th, 1857. They were defending their friends and families who buried them before leaving the protection of their camp. To the other victims of the Mountain Meadows Massacre who lie in unknown graves, rest in peace and be assured you are remembered. Ready?
No, it's just heavy.
Very heavy. I feel it the most right here. I like right this exact spot. Whatever.
Just at this.
Just in this area. Yeah, the gravesite is where I feel it the heaviest. It's so surreal coming here after learning about it.
I'm just surprised it's not covered more.
Yeah. Like that more people aren't talking about it. Yeah, it was a big secret in the church for a long time. Until like 2007 is when like they finally started talking about it. So I just think not a lot of people know about it. Which is kind of why I want to do this. It's the main reason I want to do this is I just want, the victims to be heard. I want their stories to be told. Other militiamen were involved in the massacre. Only one, John D. Lee, was brought to trial and convicted. So like right here around here, he was executed by firing squad. But he claimed that it blood atoned him because they like practice blood atonement and all that shit. So nope.
Just like I heard this argument from last night because she made up some lies about me to this guy that I used to talk to and yada yada yada. She admitted to lying to him or whatever.
Oh good.
And me and her got into it though, and then I like literally told her, I said, just because you go through hardships, it doesn't give you an excuse to be a shitty person.
Yep.
So just because they went through hardships, it's not an excuse to be a shitty person.
Yep. And like we've been saying, the fear is justified. We understand the fear that the Mormons were feeling because they were facing legitimate persecution, but it doesn't justify their actions. Fear is justified, but their actions are not. It's the bathroom. I might use it while we're here.
Okay.
I think it is. Here, I'll let you hold this. Mountain Meadows Massacre has been designated, or the Mountain Meadows Massacre site has been designated a National Historic Landmark. The site possesses national significance in commemorating the history of the United States of America. National Park Service, United States Department of Interior, 2011. Oh, okay, here we go. About 140 people were in the caravan that arrived at the Mountain Meadows in early September 1857. About 10 of those people were murdered in the initial attack and siege. About 110 were murdered in the final massacre. Of those 110, 35 were children ages 17 and younger. At least 20 were ages 12 and younger. 13 were women ages 18 and older, 11 of whom were mothers. 33 were men ages 18 and older, and the identities of the others are uncertain or unknown. 17 children ages 6 and younger survived. They were distributed among local Mormon families, including families of some of the men who had carried out the massacre. The children were held by those families until 1859, when the United States government returned them to relatives in Arkansas, and then the Civil War broke out and their homes burned down.
I have no words.
No words. No words other than what? Oh my god, their ages are on here too. Wow.
I know.
Like, actually, wow. Alright, so yeah, we didn't really get much there. My theory is that it's a residual... Stop it. It said no. Shut up. So my theory is that it's a residual haunting, that it's just kind of maybe even like a time slip or something where the energy of what happened there is still kind of lingering on. I do think that whatever spirits were there have felt peace or have received some sort of peace.
And I think they've since moved on.
Yeah,
for sure.
It really didn't feel like anything intellectual or intelligent was there. It was all residual, just energy left over. That's all I felt, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media. Allie and Gus on like everything. I think the TikTok has dots in between the words. For some reason, I couldn't get the regular one, even though I couldn't find an account with Allie and Gus. It doesn't matter. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you follow us, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. And yeah, leave a like and comment, interact with us. It helps a lot. And yeah, new episodes coming hopefully every week, every other week. We don't know yet. We're figuring it out. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Anything to say?
Just thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
Be gone, thought. Sorry. I wasn't calling you thought. I was quoting.
So we are at these lodges that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. We decided to try to talk to anything that was out here. Wow. And well, right now what we've gotten so far is kind of wild. So the front desk lady said that she has not had any ghost experiences here, and there have not been any reported, because it's brand new. This place is brand new. Okay, I'm gonna try to scry. Welcome to America. Ugh, sucks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you Burn your hands off! It means it was never human, it was never born, and never had a body. So we heard a whistling?
Yeah. If you're hurting me right now, please stop. Guys, I feel like a bite right here. Like, you want to harm us.
13. It sounded like it really faintly said Jesus. Very, very faintly. Anyway, what's up? Because there's a difference between malevolent and like mean and evil.
I'm starting to notice that every time we do this and start talking to spirits, I start feeling really drained after.
And I think when it attaches itself to you, it starts feeding off your energy. Do you want to talk to us?
It's a no?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think it wants to talk.
Sure.
How is that possible?
There's no way. So you're a liar. Okay. Whatever.
What is this?
I don't know what I don't like it. Are you hearing those screeching noises? Investigator!
That's what we're doing. We're paranormal investigators.
Out?
Okay, hurry.